right, folks, we are easing into this. We got some water. We got some tunes. We've got a picture. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and we are creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5.5. Specifically today, we are playing with color mana and martial powers that we've been developing. We're going through the Magic the Gathering comprehensive rule PDF. We're currently on page 144. We're going to be going from page 144 to 193, looking at keywords, airbend, earthbend, waterbend. We probably won't be using those because of IPs, but we're taking keywords and we're converting them into subclass options, like bolster as a reaction. You can take the help action to give a creature within your reach advantage on a d20 test. Cloak, which is second tier, you can you always have the pass without trace spell prepared, even if you don't qualify to do so, and you can expend 2 mana to cast this spell as a magic action without components. The duration lasts until you make an attack, make a loud noise, or expend mana. The duration lasts for as long as you maintain concentration, or until you make an attack, make a loud noise, or expend mana. There you go. So it's basically a non-ending pass without trace as long as you can maintain concentration. Of course, if you're incapacitated, you automatically lose concentration, unconsciousness, blah, blah, blah. So what are we doing here? It's a crash course, you guys, on this. We've been working on this for a while. I'm traipsing through all of the colors. Strixclassing in D&D is the concept of creating class-neutral subclasses or archetypes that any character class can take. It was introduced in the Strixhaven Ultima Unearthed Arcana, which was, I think, back in 2022. And it ultimately did not get picked up. It was an experiment, and too much of the audience didn't like it, so they gave up. But what we've been doing here on stream for the past 4 years is developing color mana and martial powers. The color mana system's been on DMsGuild, linked down below, for the past almost 8 years now. I'm really proud of that. It converts the 8 schools of magic and spell slots in D&D into the 5 color magic paradigm and color mana to fuel your spell casting. That's great for spellcasters, but it leaves martials out in the cold. And in Magic the Gathering, every creature basically is infused with mana. It's the energy of the universe in Magic the Gathering. So all characters have mana or can use mana, or have mana used to summon them, and have kicker effects and card effects that could make use of mana as well. So narratively, all creatures are fueled by mana in a Magic the Gathering universe. So that leaves a disparity with the martial classes in D&D if we're converting Magic the Gathering into D&D. So to resolve that, we create martial powers. Martial powers is a half-casting system that we give to all of the martial characters. So now martial characters and half-caster characters are using the 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 progression. Martial characters are only using martial powers on this half-casting stack. Half-casters can use both martial powers and spell casting, either or. Like if you can prepare, say, 9 spells, or like if you can prepare 9 spells as a paladin, they could either be 9 martial powers, 9 spells, or a mix between the two, plus, if you get cantrips and stuff like that, cheers. So that helps scale up the variety of paladins, rangers, as well as artificers and warlocks as gishes to make use of a mana pool. So it's with this structure, and we've spent literally 4 years on stream walking through martial powers. We're currently doing the artwork for martial powers on Monday through Friday in the morning. So if you're curious about this system, we are going to have a ton of stuff to say about it. Here, I want to fix my camera here real quick. It seems a little, oh no, this is what's off. Let's fix our chat. There we go. I'm just lining up my edges here. There we go. Burp, burp. There. That gives us a little bit of float space here to make that a little bit bigger on the screen. And let's bring this over. Sorry, doing some mild adjustments here so you guys can see everything that's on screen. There you go. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll be spending months talking about martial powers on my morning art stream as we're doing artwork on pages. We'll be talking about what's on those pages and how it pertains to martial powers. But the bottom line is, using this system, all characters in D&D become either half or full casters, which means that when we build Strixclasses, the only common language, the common mechanic that we have to worry about for characters is mana. I mean, if you have like, say, a barbarian subclass, it's naturally going to bend towards, like, while you're raging, do this thing, or bardic inspiration, when you expend a bardic inspiration die, or if you give inspiration to somebody, blah, 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 blah. That's how you build out your subclasses, like wild shaping for druids, etc. Since that would be a bard only, barbarian only, druid only subclass, a fighter wouldn't be able to take those because fighter doesn't have rage. But if we instead make all the subclass features either be, no resources, generic, that anyone could do them as like ribbon features, or use mana to fuel them, now it doesn't matter what class you are, because every class will have mana that can be expended on subclasses. Part of the Martial Powers project is converting the martial subclasses that exist in the player's handbook into the mana paradigm, so that mana becomes a resource. Like you could, like a fighter could expend a use of second wind, instead of regaining hit points, regain some mana. Stuff like that. So it reconfigures, like a barbarian. Barbarian can't cast spells and can't concentrate, so the martial power system doesn't use concentration. It's just a tap mana to turn this thing on as an aura, and while that mana is tapped and you aren't incapacitated, this thing stays active. When you get incapacitated, you lose all your powers. That's just a mechanic of martial powers, kind of like you lose concentration when you pop a spell. Sustained powers and all other powers drop if you are incapacitated. So it creates that unifying system. And that also opens the door to, if any class can take a subclass, then if I if I take Artificer 3 and I want to play in a Zet subclass, then I could pick up a Zet at level 3. I now have the first tier of a Zet. And then at level 5 as an Artificer, I would have second tier, third tier, fourth tier at 15th level, etc., etc., etc. The Epic Boon can be replaced. Like, instead of taking an Epic Boon or gaining stats, you could take another tier, another subclass. So what we could do then is like go Artificer 1 to 4, and then like say go Izzet 1 to 4, and then like Armor 1. We now have 2 subclasses. So let's further break this down. An Artificer could take, say, 2 levels of Izzet and then 3 levels of Artificer, of Armorer. Or like go Armorer, Izzet, Cartographer, Armorer 2, Izzet 2. So it's breaking down the like you can't get a second tier subclass option until you've taken the first subclass option. So you can stack them that way. But then even further, if I get 3 levels in Artificer, I take Izzet 1, I could then go Barbarian to level 3 and then take Izzet 2. So I now have a level 3 Artificer, level 3 Barbarian. That is now the second tier of the Izzet subclass. So we can mix and match these things together. So like I could go like Izzet 1, Izzet 2, and then I get the Barbarian 6, so I take like Frenzied Berserker 1, and then I like say maybe I jump into Druid, and I pick up Izzet 3, and then Druid 6 I could pick up, say, Moon Druid, for instance, Moon Druid 1, for instance, and it just keeps stacking in those directions. So it allows for a ton of flexibility. It allows for a higher level of customization in your characters between feats and multi-classing, and then all characters using mana. So now you can manipulate your mana pool by what classes you decide to take. having a mix of both powers and spells to help fuel your character's options in combat and exploration. And then you can now mix and match subclasses with the system. So it's creating the same deck building sort of options that we had in 3rd edition, which was amazing. 3rd edition was crazy awesome for basically deck building a character. You have 20 character levels, unless you use the Epic Handbook. You essentially have 20 levels, which basically converts into 20 cards that you can basically build your character as like a deck building sort of game. How do I optimize my stack of character levels, feats, powers, spell, and subclass options for me to do this thing, do a thing? And so that's ultimately what we're trying to build here. All this stuff is on DMsGuild when it gets published. It all has 100% free preview. And then we're going to be doing expansions with the subclass system on my Patreon. All this stuff is linked down below. If you're interested, tag along. If you have questions, catch me in the mornings when I'm doing art streams, or join my Discord channel, or drop chats here and I'll address them. But today's a design stream, so I'm going to mostly be focusing on building game mechanics and occasionally allowing myself to be distracted with tangents. Speaking of which, let's take a sip of water as a new song gets loaded. Okay, so as I said, we have 4 tiers of subclasses. We've gone through all the 1 mana cost white cards, pulling 46 features from tier 1 through 4. Blue we've gone through and grabbed 54 features. For black we've grabbed we'll get there, hold on. Like 30 something, 36 black, and then I think like 44 for red magic, I think like 61 for green, and now we're going into keywords, like things like, where'd it go? There. Things like Airbend, which we can't use because of IP propriety. Earthbend, which we can't use because of IP propriety. But these are all like scrolling down. Again, this document is linked in the description down below. If you're on, if you're here with me on YouTube, like, subscribe, blah blah blah. But yeah, we're going through the document. We're on page 144 right now, confirmed. And these are all this, like, Death Touch is a 4th tier feature, so you can get it like around level 14 or above. When you expend mana, the next melee attack you make before the beginning of your next turn is more likely to score a critical hit. You score a critical... That should be capped, but I mean, I really shouldn't worry about it right now. You score a critical hit when the number you roll is equal to 20 minus the amount of mana expended. When you expend mana during your turn. The next melee attack you make before the beginning, no, that's right, when you expend mana, because a rogue could use this. Like, a rogue could cash all of their action economy to dump a bunch of mana. Like martial characters, like rogues, you can dump, like, at level, you'll get this as a rogue, you'll get this at level 17, I think. So at level 17, you can sacrifice your bonus action and gain 3 points of mana. You can sacrifice your reaction and gain 1 point of mana. Let's put that one on hold, though, because the rogue is going to need that. So we're going to get 3 points for our bonus action. A rogue can sacrifice movement if they don't move. If they drop their speed to 0 and haven't moved already, they can generate an extra point of mana, so that's 4. And they can sacrifice their attack action, that's 5. And at 17th level, the maximum amount of mana that you can channel is 5. So a rogue can sacrifice all of their action economy to generate 5 points of temporary mana, but you have to expend it. So they could then make a sneak attack. Say they have the opportunity to make an attack with their reaction. So they then make their attack, they spend all 5 mana to ramp up their attack roll, potentially like gaining advantage and adding extra dice to it to increase the result. And assuming that they hit, because they spent 5 mana to gain advantage and to ramp the attack roll is probably going to hit, and they have advantage, so they're more likely to roll high. Since they spent 5 mana doing that, Now you score a critical hit when the number you roll is equal to 20 minus the amount of mana expended. For example, in this example, the rogue spent 5 mana. So if I roll between 15 and 20 on the d20, I will score a critical hit with this sneak attack that I'm doing as my reaction. So I will hit if it's 15 or above, and I'm rolling with advantage in this instance, in this example, so I have a decent chance of hitting 15 or above, I will crit. And then I roll my damage dice. There you go. And the damage dice, then my normal dagger, and then the 10d6 that I'll deal from the sneak attack. It crits, so all of that, I roll all that dice again, potentially doing 40 d6 damage and whatever my weapon damage does twice. So like that's for a rogue, that'd be like 17th level, but for like for a ranger, for instance, could do the same at level 15. So could the artificer, for instance. So you see how that plays out. These are the ideas. So we're now going to go in and start continuing to build on these ideas. Airbend, waterbend, firebending should be in here. Waterbending, earthbending, airbending. Don't know why firebending isn't here, but whatever. We're going to skip those because we can't use them. Blight. To blight in means to put negative counters on things. That's just basically a curse effect. But we may as well lean into it. So let's go with blight, and we'll make this first tier. Oh, as a reaction, you can target a creature within 60 feet. To here we go. As a reaction to win a creature within 60 feet of you makes a d20 test. You can force that creature to roll with disadvantage. Like that's an easy little blight thing, and you could basically, currently as written, you can do that at will. I think that's a little bit too powerful. So instead, I'm fixing my screen. So instead, as a reaction to when a creature within 60 feet makes a d20 test, you can expend 1 mana to force that creature to roll with disadvantage. There you go. Yeah, very good. And okay, so that's blight. Let's keep moving. Heal. Heal's a spell, so we'll probably skip it. Keyword abilities. Death touch. We already have that. Defender. Do we have defender already? Yes, we do. Defender during your because we saw it on cards and we already used it. So, Defender, second tier. During your turn, you can forego your attack to gain an equal number of reactions that you can use before the beginning of your next turn. There you go. You are still limited to taking 1 reaction per turn. Double Strike. We should have Double Strike already. There it is. Double Strike. 3rd tier feature. Around level 9 or above. When you deal damage from a weapon attack during your turn, if you have an extra attack remaining, you can forego that attack and roll the weapon attack damage twice. You can use this feature once, regaining it when you finish a short rest or a long rest. You can expend 2 mana. That's 3rd tier. You can expend 3 mana to regain this feature immediately. 3rd tier, that's too expensive. And honestly, it's just we're just removing the attack roll, so that's actually only worth 1 mana. But it's such a good ability that we hold off on gaining it until 3rd tier. Oh boy, what's up, Streambot? Thanks for gracing our presence. You are deleted. You're terminated. Thank you. So yeah, that's Double Strike. Enchant. Enchant is a static ability. Here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Enchant is a static ability. Written enchant, object or player. The enchant ability restricts what an aura spell can target and what an aura can enchant. So that's just basically a targeting effect. We don't actually need that. Equip, we skip equip. First strike, we already have first strike. Sorry, I need to be here, here, here. There. Right, first strike. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range of your weapon attack, make an attack roll against that enemy instead. Whether you hit or not, the result of the attack roll is also your initiative count. If you hit, deal damage as usual. You can only use it when you roll initiative, so it can't be used a lot. It's third tier. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range of your weapon attack, you can expend 3 mana to make an attack roll. There you go. So that's worth 3 mana. I wouldn't want to give this to you for free as a subclass option. If I did, it would be like once per short rest. Yeah, actually, let's do that. Deal damage as usual. You can use this feature once, regaining it when you finish a short or long rest. And you can expend 3 mana to regain. And you can expend 3 mana to regain it. No action required. That's not perfect language. That's pretty good. Flash. We already have Flash. For 3 mana, you can take an action as a bonus action instead. For 5 mana, you can take an action or bonus action as a reaction during your turn. And then we have Flying, which is self-explanatory. It actually doesn't exist. Haste is a spell, so we skip it. Hexproof does exist, and it goes like this. When you are the only target of a creature's attack, spell, or other effect, you can use your reaction to expend 3 mana to force the creature to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed roll, the creature must choose a different target or waste that action without expending any uses of an effect or mana. On success, the attack rolls with disadvantage. That's hexproof for you. Let's keep moving. Indestructible. We have that as well already from... We should have that already from before. Yeah. Fourth tier. You can expend 4 mana to gain resistance to all damage for 1 minute as a magic action. You can expend 4 mana to gain resistance to all damage for 1 minute. As a reaction to taking damage, you can dismiss Indestructible and become immune to the triggering damage type until the end of your next turn. You can do this as often as you want. It just costs 4 mana. It's just basically that's basically a power that's a martial power that already exists that we're also making into a class feature because it's using the title Indestructible. Intimidate. Ooh. Let's do a search. Intimidate. Okay, it doesn't exist. Good. Let's see what it does and how we do. Intimidate is an evasion ability. A creature with Intimidate can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. Multiple instances of Intimidate on the same creature are redundant. I don't like the color alignment because that doesn't hold a lot of meaning in D&D. So it's going to be except by artifact creatures. Are artifact creatures immune to frightened? D&D 5.5e are constructs Do constructs have immunity to the frightened condition? No, do not have a universal automatic immunity to the frightened condition. In Magic the Gathering, they kind of do, right? So how would indestructible work? Intimidate work. A creature with intimidate can't be blocked, and or creatures that share a color with it. Can't be blocked. That generally translates into attacks of opportunity. Oh, okay, I got it. And that feels like a third tier feature to me. This would be, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks unless the attacking creature has immunity to the fear condition, which your characters can gain to the frightened condition. Like Bard of Valor, I think, grants that. Some Paladin abilities grant that. I think there's some other subclasses that do that, but characters becoming heroism, the spell heroism, I believe, is immune to frightened. There's a number of different ways you can attain immunity to fear. So if, like, say, if a DM were using these to add on creature options to make like this ogre is more interesting now because it has intimidate. Your characters have to be immune to you have to be immune to fear to be able to give it opportunity attacks. It's just going to be able to stroll around the battlefield as it pleases, not worrying about stray attacks, unless you are unintimidated. Unless you can't be intimidated. There you go. Land walk, that translates into plains walk, forest walk, blah blah blah, which is covered in their individual color slots. Land walk in general with this system means that during overland movements, difficult terrain doesn't slow your movement. Lifelink, I think we already have lifelink down here. Yes, we do. When you deal damage, you can expend mana to gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the roll of one hit point die. Number of temporary hit points equal to the result of one hit point die per mana expended this way. Up to the max tier you've gained in this subclass. So it's a first tier feature. When I hit you to deal damage, I can expend a hit point die and gain temporary hit points as part of the attack. Oh no, whenever I expend mana. Thank you. I can then expend a hit point die to gain temporary mana on top of it. Temporary hit points on top of it. And since it's first tier, and then I gain it, I can only do one hit point at a time. If I get the third, whatever this subclass is, whatever this feature is attached to, like say it's a maybe it's like a Selesnya Shaman or something like that. Then if I'm up to the third tier of Selesnya Shaman, I could expend 3 temporary hit dice whenever I use this. Three hit point dice. Sorry, gain temporary hit points. Blech. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, Manifest Dread. That's not next. What's next? Lifelink. Ooh, Protection. Protection is a static ability written protection from blank. This quality is usually a color, but they can be any characteristic, value, or information. If the quality happens to be a card name, it is treated as such only if the protection ability specifies that the quality is a name. If the quality is a card type, subtype, or super type, the ability applies to sources that are permanents with that card type, subtype, or super type, and to any sources not on the battlefield that are of that card type, super type, or subtype. This is the exception to the rule. A permanent or a player or protection can't be targeted by spells A permanent or player. Oh, protection. Okay. That goes right here. Protection. And that feels third as well. And it's going to go like this. It's going to go... no, we're going to make this fourth tier. When a creature targets, there you go. Creatures must succeed a wisdom saving throw against your channeling DC, your subclass, your archetype DC to target you with an attack or effect. Something like that. When a creature succeeds, you can expend 1 mana to regain this ability. No action required. After a creature succeeds, whenever a creature succeeds the save, you can expend 1 mana to regain this ability. No action required. No, it should be after. Anytime after. Anytime after a creature succeeds the save, you can expend 1 mana to regain this ability. You regain this ability, this feature, when you finish a short or long rest. And anytime after a creature succeeds the save, you can expend 1 mana to regain this feature. No action required. There. I like that one. That's fun. What's next? Reach. Reach is a thing already. We're not going to use that. Shroud. I've been waiting for Shroud. We finally get it. What's Shroud gonna do? Shroud is a static ability. Shroud means that this permanent or player can't be the target of spells or abilities. That's basically the same as protection, isn't it? It's just basically an invisibility thing, right? Yeah. Shroud, second tier. You always have the invisibility spell prepared, even. And you can expend 2 mana to cast it, even if you normally don't qualify to do so. Without material components, even if you normally don't qualify to do so. There you go. Easy enough. Trample already exists. When your melee attack drops a creature to 0 hit points, you can take a reaction to attack another creature you can see within reach of your melee attack. When you're, the same weapon. Period. There we go. Trample, trample, trample. Trample, trample, trample. Vigilance. Vigilance. Third, you can expend 3 mana to take a reaction before the beginning of your next turn, even if you have already done so. You can take only 1 reaction per turn. So I can just gain an extra reaction on the spot by spending 3 mana. Ward. Whenever this permanent becomes the target of a spell or ability, counter that spell or ability. That's basically hexproof, so we can skip that. Pays cost. Right. Okay, so Ward is actually a bad effect for a character feature because you're fighting PvEs. And PvE, you're fighting NPC monsters. And monsters often don't have any resource at all. So Ward is not a good character feature. It is an excellent DM feature. So Ward, let's just go ahead and make a note of that, shan't we? DM. So instead of having a tier, it's a DM feature. I actually use this in game quite a bit. When you target a creature that is warded, you must expend. You must pay a cost. Mana, 1 to 5. Hit dice. Hit point dice. Mana, hit point dice. Gain a level of exhaustion. Take damage. 1d6 to 5d6 of type. What's another thing? Mana, hit point dice, levels of exhaustion, take damage. Yeah, that's basically the 4 things I would generally use for wards on creatures. And this could be constant or could have a recharge die per instance. Ward. UVW, right, that should be before V, after V. Alphabets, Phil. Alphabets. Banding, thank you. Banding. Banding is a static ability that modifies the rules of combat. Bands with others is a special form of banding, and in effect causes a permanent to lose banding. The permanent loses all band with other features. As a player declares attacks, they may declare that 1 or more attacking creatures with banding and up to 1 attacking creature without banding, even if it has bands with others, are all in a band. They may also declare that 1 or more attacking quality creature with bands with other quality and any number of attacking quality creatures are all in a band. A player may declare as many attacking bands as they want, but each creature may be a number of only one of them. Defending players can't declare bans, but may use banding in a different way. All creatures in an attacking band must attack the same player, planeswalker, or battle. Once an attacking band has been announced, it lasts for the rest of the combat. Even if something later removes banding or bans with others from one of the creatures, an attacking creature that's removed from combat is also removed from the band. Banding doesn't cause attacking creatures to share abilities, nor does it remove any abilities. If an attacking creature becomes blocked by a creature, each other creature in the same band as the attacking creature becomes blocked by the same blocking creature. During combat damage step, if an attacking creature is being blocked by a creature with banding, both by quality creatures banned with blah, 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 the defending player chooses how the attacking creature's damage is assigned. That player can divide the creature's damage among the chosen creatures. Oh, okay, gotcha. So you basically get to group them all together. Multiple instances of banding on the same creature are redundant. Okay, banding. Ironically, I use banding in my Spelljammer and Mass Combat system. Spelljammer is already published, link down below. The Mass Combat system is not yet published, but we'll eventually bring it to Kickstarter, probably like in 2 years or something like that. Once we get done with all these different mana books that we're building, my plate's clear, we can look at doing Kickstarter and ttrpg stuff and independent publishing things. But the way that works is that when you are in command of NPCs or ships, if anything takes damage as their commander, you can choose to take damage for them. And in the case of Mass Combat, if you are targeted by an attack, you can choose to have one of your commanded allies take the damage for you instead. So you basically get to exchange and deal damage that way. Banding, second tier. Let's make it first, because I use that at first level in Greenest in Flames. In the Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign, we made a banding adventure out of the first chapter where the city of Greenest is being attacked by the dragon cult and an adult dragon. Actually, it's a young dragon. Yeah, it's a young dragon, but still has 200 freaking hit points, way beyond what a first level character could do ever. But when you have 20 archers on top of a wall flinging arrows for 20d6 damage at a young dragon, and they tag it for I think it was 90 hit points in the first volley, that dragon is going to reconsider what it wants to do there in town. So banding, let's see, creatures you control, you can band with NPCs and with NPC creatures you control. This is very loose language. You can band with NPC creatures you control. While banded, you can take damage for the creatures, and you can designate, and you can choose a banded creature to take damage for you. There you go. You don't even need a reaction. It's just, you're going to hit this guy instead. So banding, very simple. Rampage. Let's go. I think I already have Rampage in here somewhere. Rampage. Nope. Okay. Screw me then. Cheers, Zoofus. What is it? Rampage. Hello, viewers. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot. I got a little tag. I got a skin tag on the tip of my nose. I bet it's gonna make it red. Price we pay for beauty. Rampage is triggered ability. Rampage N means whenever this creature becomes blocked, it gets +N until the end of the turn for each creature blocking it beyond the first. Rampage bonus is calculated only once per combat. When the triggered ability resolves, adding or removing blockers later in combat won't change the bonus. If a creature has multiple instances of Rampage, Each triggers separately. Huh. How would we do this? So is triggered by whenever this creature becomes blocked, it increases its damage and its attack. It basically overcomes the event, the target. So Rampage would be a great barbarian ability, but we're trying to build it system neutral. So let's go with. How do I want to do this? We could probably make that. It feels like a third tier, but we've had a lot of third tier features, quite honestly. Can we build this guy so it's only second tier? First tier, third tier, second tier, third tier, third tier, third tier. We have a ton of third tier stuff in here. We need more second tier. So let's go. Let's put Rampage in at second tier. So it could be up to 2 mana. Rampage, huh? How do I want to do this? Okay, how about during combat, you gain a bonus to melee weapon attack rolls equal to the number of enemies. Enemies are defined as creatures that are hostile towards you, that you do not consider friendly. During combat, you gain a bonus to melee weapon attack rolls equal to number of enemies within reach of that weapon attack. Advantage on melee weapon attack rolls. Let's see. Once per round. We'll do that. Once per round, you gain advantage on melee weapon attack rolls. And gain a bonus to that attack roll equal to the number of enemies within reach of that weapon attack. That's not fantastic. We could make power attack out of it. Power attack was in 3rd edition. You reduce your attack roll results and increase the damage roll that you get. There we go. I got the skin tag. Now I probably have a shiny red nose. Cheers. Yeah, we're gonna leave it like that for now, though. We can always change it. What else you got? Cumulative upkeep. That's a trigger. That's mechanical. Flanking. Flanking is a triggered ability. Okay, so flanking isn't actually an ability anymore. Like, it isn't for free, but a lot of creatures get it. So, and flanking is very much a 2nd tier ability. So, first strike, fight, flank. When you and any number of allies are within reach how do I want to do this? When you and an ally is within melee weapon within reach of we're not wording that rightly. When a creature is within reach of your melee weapon attack and the reach the creature is within reach of okay, let's look it up. D&D 5e flanking variant rule. The D&D option flanking rule grants advantage on melee attack rolls when a creature and at least one ally are adjacent to an enemy on opposite sides or corners. Okay. That's mechanically complicated. So how do we word this differently? Let's see. You and your allies gain advantage to attack the same creature within reach of your weapon attacks. Now that's yours specifically. You and your allies gain advantage to attack the same creature God, why is this so mechanically complicated? You and your allies gain advantage to attack the same creature that you're. I don't like being on opposite sides because that's clumsy. Ooh, here's an idea. Let's word it this way. When a creature would impose cover to an attack, when a creature would impose partial or full cover to an attack from you or an ally that is damn it, I'm trying to use the cover mechanics to explain how being on opposite sides of the creature, you gain cover from that creature, like to attack somebody on the other side of a creature. When a creature would impose partial or full cover to an attack to attack a target on the other side of it, you gain advantage. You and all allies similarly affected gain advantage to attack that creature. There. When a creature would impose partial or full cover to attack a target on the other side of it, if that target that's even worse. I've somehow made the feature more difficult. So, how can I clean this up? What is the maybe is it Goblin that has flanking now? Let's go look up Goblin. This might not be it. No, it's not. It's not goblin. Was it kobold? D&D 5e. What creatures gain flanking feature? That was worthless. Maybe it's kobold. If anyone in chat knows the answer, let me know. I just want to look at the language here. Pack tactics. That's the one. If it just says flanking, I'm gonna hate you. There it is. You and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against a creature that you are it's still clumsy. You and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against a creature you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against a creature within reach of your and your allies melee weapon attack rolls. There we go, we found it. You and any number of allies and have advantage. No, and each ally that is within there it is. You and any number of allies you choose have advantage on attack rolls against a creature within reach of you and each ally's weapon attack rolls. There it is. There. You and any number of allies you choose have advantage on attack rolls against a creature within reach of your and each chosen ally's melee weapon attack. Melee weapon attacks. There we go. There. We fixed it. Finally. God, that one was tough. Phasing. Heyo. Does phasing exist already? Not yet. I think phasing is like blink. Oh, no, here it is. Phase. It does exist. As phase, not phasing. So let's extract that. Drop down here to phasing. You can expend 2 mana is the second tier. You can expend 2 mana as a bonus action to become incorporeal until the beginning of your next turn. Alternatively, you can phase as a reaction to being targeted by an attack or magical effect from a source you can see. While incorporeal this way, you are immune to all damage except force and psychic damage, and you can move through solid objects as difficult terrain until the beginning of your next turn. No, we already have it up there. Period. If you end your turn inside an object, you are pushed out, returning to the last open space you occupied and are stunned until the beginning of your next turn. So, watch your P's and Q's. Buyback is a meta mechanic, don't worry about it. Shadow is an evasion ability. A creature with shadow can't be blocked by creatures without shadow, and a creature without shadow can't be blocked by creatures with shadow. That's super clumsy. How about could just go with evasion. Now we're gonna skip it. We're literally just gonna skip it all together. Cycling, meta concept. It's card management. Doesn't matter. Echo. I think actually Echo exists already. Echo. When you drop a creature to 0 hit points, you can use a reaction to briefly animate its body to make it a melee attack against a creature you can see within the reach of the animated creature. It then dies. Nope, that's not it. Echo is triggered ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this permanent came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay. Okay. How about... Ooh! Okay, how about this? Okay, I like it. Let's go with this. It's not necessarily the best name, but it's certainly inspired by. So let's go with it. Yeah. Echo. Now we're gonna make it. Third tier. When you lose concentration on a spell, you can expend mana equal to the level of spell lost to succeed the concentrate this to succeed the say and to succeed instead of lose. That's horribly worded. When you lose concentration, when you fail at when failing a saving throw, forces you to, because if you're incapacitated, you're gonna lose concentration anyway. So it has to be when failing a saving throw. No, it's going to be when you lose concentration as a result. When you lose concentration on a spell as a result of failing a saving throw, you can expend mana equal to the level of spell lost to succeed the roll instead. To succeed the save instead. There you go. That's like an anti-ward effect. We were talking about warding earlier. This is like an anti-ward. I get dinged for my concentration. If it's a third level spell, it's going to cost me 3 more mana to keep it. This is very much like attrition. Attrition shit tests you all the time on concentration. It is again, the name isn't great, but the mechanic is good. That, like, if you want to maintain, like, for example, haste lasts for a minute. If you want to maintain concentration on haste for more than a minute, you have to make another Constitution. You have to make another concentration save. Generally, Constitution. If you fail, you lose the spell. If you succeed, you keep the spell. If you fail, you could choose to, instead of casting the spell again, just choose to spend 3 mana to keep haste up and running. That way, you don't have to do the action to keep it going. It's just a way to, like, if you don't have a lot of encounters during the day, if you implement an attrition mechanic like that, people get to keep spells going because they're not going to have a lot of combat. It's kind of a waste to have that spell, right? Well, you can keep it going, but you will be shit test basically like every minute, 10 minutes, hour, depending on however long the spell would normally last. If it hasn't been expended, when it comes to the end of duration, you can spend the mana again to keep it going. If you get dinged in concentration, you can spend that mana again to keep it going. It's a way to keep your character stable, and it turns your mana pool into basically a type of hit point pool that the DM can attack with creatures by shit testing with traps, hazards, and of course combat to continuously test whoever's concentrating on their spell to prevent them from losing their concentration. Anyway. Horsemanship is an invasion ability. A creature with horsemanship can't be blocked by creatures without horsemanship. A creature with horsemanship can block a creature with or with... Okay, great. Horsemanship. Very conditional, but I like it. Phasing is misplaced. Here we go. Horsemanship. GH. Second. While riding a mount, you and the mount gain evasion. You can use your reaction. Oh, wait, let's do it. While riding a mount, you gain evasion, and you can use your reaction to protect yourself and the horse and your mount with the same reaction to reduce damage. Something like that. Fading, not phasing, fading. Fading is a keyword that represents fading in. The permanent enters with end fade counters at the beginning of your upkeep. Remove a fade counter from this permanent. If you can't, sacrifice the permanent. Ooh. That's basically like a summons duration that has an automatic, like Magic the Gathering doesn't have durations for creatures except for fading. So that's kind of a meta mechanic that already exists as a duration inside of D&D, so we can skip that. Kicker we already use in Martial Powers. It just does extra stuff. Flashback we already have. When you begin combat with less mana than your proficiency bonus, you gain that amount of mana. You can use this ability once, regaining it when you finish a long or short rest. And since you get it at 3rd level, and all characters have at least 3 mana at 3rd level, then if you have less than 2 mana at level 3, if you have less than 2 mana, you'll get 2 mana back. Nice ability. Madness. Tell me about it. Does Madness exist already? There it is. Mad. Mad. Where's it go? Madness. Here we go. When you expend mana to cast a spell, channel a power, or use a feature, you can reduce the amount of mana expended by your casting ability modifier to a minimum of 0. When you do, you can't use that spell, power, or feature again until you finish a long rest. Ooh, neat. So you get it for free, but then you lose it forever. Neat. Or lose it until you get a long rest. I like that. That's cool. Madness. Fear, we skipped that. Morph is a static ability that functions in any zone from which you could play the card. Morph means you may cast this card as a 2/2. Oh, right, that's a summons card. We skipped that. Megamorph. Amplify. Amplify is a static ability. Let's go with, Amplify. Amplify might already exist, like in white. I am corrected. Seems like a white or a blue ability, but let's actually check it out to know for sure. So go up to the A's and amplify. It's weird that these things aren't in order. But I mean, they do add on new things, and this is kind of in the order in which things are received. Amplify. Amplify states amplify N means as the object enters, reveal any number of cards from your hand and share a creature type with it. This permanent enters with bonuses for each card revealed. Okay, that's a summons card. We can't use that, so we're gonna skip it. Provoke. Okay, let's. Holy Hannah. Bless you. Provoke. Provoke is triggered by the ability Provoke means whenever this creature attacks, you may choose to have target creature defending player controlled block this creature. Ooh. We do have Provoking Strike, and we also have Goad. So let's go look at those real quick. Let's go with Provoking Strike. There we go. There we go. Provoking Strike. Your weapon can deal psychic damage, increases damage by 1. This is what we're interested in. The creature must use its attacks to attack you or a target creature. Cool. Provoke. I have the solution. This also feels second tier. Hey, what's going on, Steve? It's good to see you, my dude. Provoke equals as a magic action. You can target a creature you can see within 60 feet to make an intelligence saving throw. On failure, the creature must use its actions to attack you or target to attack a creature of your choice that within 60 feet. On a fail save, the creature must use its actions to attack a creature of your choice within 60 feet that you can see. Until, let's see, on failure, the creature must use its actions to attack a creature of your choice within 60 feet that both you and it, can no longer see the target. You're incapacitated. Or you're incapacitated. There you go. The creature can, in the effect, the creature can repeat the saving, can repeat this save at the end of each of its turns. On success, the effect ends. comma, ending the effect with a success, period. There we go. Timely timer. You can see for 1 minute. Or until it can no longer see you or you're incapacitated. The creature can repeat this save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect early with a success. Period. There we go. Provoke. Very good. What else you got? Storm. Storm is a triggered ability that functions like Storm, means when you cast this spell, copy it for each other spell that was cast before it this turn. If the spell has any targets, you may choose. Target is a trigger ability that functions in a stack. When you cast this spell, copy it for each other spell that was cast before it this turn. If the spell has any targets, you may choose new targets for any number of. Okay, so basically, this is like repeat spell or like multiple copies of twin spell. Okay, Storm. Fourth tier. When you cast a spell that targets a single creature, that targets one creature, you can cast multiple copies of that spell, targeting a different creature with each casting. Comma, expending the mana for each separate casting up to your max, up to your mana limit. And your mana limit in this example, like a 5th level character for say a 5th level sorcerer, sorry, it has to be 4th tier. It's like a 13th level sorcerer can cast 7th level spells. If I want to cast a, like, say, actually let's go with cleric, that's more fun. If we have a 4th tier, that's going to be what? Let's say, what is the 4th tier for cleric? I think it's 17th level. Okay, so 17th level can cast 17th level cleric can cast 9th level spells. If I have Storm on that cleric and I cast Guiding Bolt, I can do 46 damage to one target for 1 mana. With Storm, I could cast it 9 times, targeting 9 creatures for 9 mana, dealing 46 damage to all of them, and each one of them, the next attack has advantage against them before the beginning of my next turn. So, like, Storm, Guiding Bolt is probably the coolest / sickest example of that, which is still nothing compared to Meteor Swarm, so it's pretty good. But I could also like that a 17th level wizard with Storm could cast, say, Haste 3 times for 9 mana on 3 separate targets, but I may as well cast Haste as a 5th level spell for targeting 3 targets, so that one doesn't make sense. Casting. Cantrips count. Cantrips require 1 mana each. There you go. So I could actually, that 17th level wizard, if I wanted to, like, say, cast Ray of Frost. Cantrip is 0 mana, and then I could stack up 9 more. I could hit 10 things with Ray of Frost as cantrips, each doing, what, 48 damage at 17th level? There you go. What else? Affinity is a static ability that functions with a spell with affinity on the stack. Affinity for means the spell costs 1 less to cast for each blank you control. Is affinity already in here somehow? No, sir. Okay, so how did that work? For each, oh, so it's like if I like control like say, like if I control 5 dragons and I have affinity for dragons, I can reduce the cost of summoning a dragon by 5. That there's some I don't know, man. There's some real meta shit we could do with that. I'm gonna skip it. It's I think it's a little bit too meta. Entwine, what does that do? Entwine is a static ability of modal spells that function while the spell is on the stack. You may choose all modes of this. Okay, that's really meta. Modular, also very meta. Excuse me, got the yawns. What time is it? No wonder it's 8 o'clock. I've been at this for an hour and a half. Is that right? Sure is. Sunburst. Sunburst is a static ability that functions as an object is entering the battlefield. Sunburst means if this object is entering as a creature, ignoring any type changing effects that would affect it, it enters with a +1/+1 counter for each color of mana spent to cast it. Otherwise, it enters with a charge token on it for each color mana. Yeah, okay, no, we're gonna skip that. Bushido, hey, what's up? Bushido's triggered ability, Bushido In, means whenever this creature blocks or becomes blocks, it gains blip blip. Oh, okay. I like it. Bushido. I've got this one. Bushido. And that's going to be second. When you make opportunity attacks, you roll with advantage. And opportunity attacks made against you are rolled with disadvantage. That was easy. Soul Shift. When this permanent is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may return target spirit card with mana value in. No. Splice. Since the card was spliced remains in the player's hand, you may reveal this card. No. Offering. Actually, let's check our shit. Hey, Splice exists. Cast another spell as part of casting a spell. Double casting. Q mana can't. Oh, it's down here. Splice B. Okay, let's keep it. We'll call it third. You can cast two spells that target the same you can cast two spells simultaneously that target one creature. Both spells must target the same creature. The total levels of both spells cast plus 3 mana. Actually, plus 1 mana. The total amount of mana expended this way cannot exceed your mana limit. And again, mana limit is the maximum amount of mana that you can use at any given time. Like a ninth level wizard has a mana limit of 5. A 9th level paladin has a mana limit of 3. Ninjutsu. And this is basically a creature swap. As cool as that is, I can't use it. For the rest of the game, you can't cast spells. And at the beginning of each of your upkeeps for the rest of the game, copy this spell. No. Convoke. Convoke is a static ability that functions while the spell with Convoke is on the stack. Convoke means for each colored mana. No, we're going to skip colored mana stuff like for each colored mana in this player's total cost. Oh, it's a creature card. Okay, so yeah, we don't do summons card stuff. Dredge is a static ability that functions only while the card with Dredge is in a player's graveyard. So you may instead mill. No, we're not going to do that. Transmute. Search your library for a card of the same mana value. No. That's a meta card. That's a meta deck card. Bloodthirst is static ability. Bloodthirst in. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn, this permanent enters with that's a creature stack, but I like the idea of Bloodthirst. So is there something fun we can do with you? Oh, yeah. Bloodthirst. I got one for you. This one's easy. And it feels like second rank. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you have advantage to attack the same creature on all attacks against the same creature until the beginning of your next turn. Bloodthirst is a great roguelike ability. You could use Nick, so you hit. You then use Nick. If you hit and you get and then you're triggering Nick, you will now have, and you're using Bloodthirst. The first attack hits the Nick and now has advantage. You can now sneak attack with that. You could hit a target, sneak attack with it during your turn with Nick, and then as a reaction, if it triggers an opportunity attack or you have another ability that allows you to hit it with a reaction, you could then trigger a sneak attack again because you will continue to have advantage against that creature until the beginning of your next turn. I think this is probably the best feature out of all of these. Honestly, I think this is the most D&D like feature that we have seen yet out of all these cards. This feels so 5.5. I love this one. This is such a great this is a good assassin sort of card. I could see me giving this to I could easily see me giving this to Dimir, Orzhov, or Rakdos. Let's keep moving. Haunt. This permanent is put into a graveyard for the battlefield. Exile it, haunting target creature. Haunt. When this spell is put in the graveyard, exile. No, we're going to skip that. Replicate. Replicator. For every 5 mana expended from your mana pool, you can use a bonus action to replace one additional magic item that you have plans for. When you regain mana, these replicated items disappear. Then that's the Path of Bazet that we've been building a little bit offhand here. The first is static replicate means as an additional cost of casting a spell you may pay. No, we're going to skip that. Forecast. Forecast. The controller of the forecast ability reveals the card. The ability that player pays the card, reveal the hand until it leaves the player's hand until it steps. Graft. The permanent enters with a bonus on it whenever another creature enters. If this permanent has a +1/+1, you may move it to another creature. Yeah, okay, we're gonna skip that. That's summons management. We'll skip it. Recover. When a creature is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay blank. If you do, return this card from the battlefield to your hand instead. Otherwise, exile that card. No. Ripple. That's basically like Raise Dead, kind of. So we're gonna skip it. Ripple. When you cast this spell, you may reveal the top X cards. Okay, that's deck management. We'll skip it. Split Second. Split Second means as long as this spell is on the stack, players can't cast other spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Let's double check how Counterspell works, because I think this is gonna be a buff against Counterspell. Does it exist? You can trigger effects before rolling initiative. Think first strike. No. We're going to change that. Let's go to Counterspell. On a failed save, the spell dissipates. Okay, Counterspell. Split Second. This feels second tier to me. When you are targeted by a counter spell, when you are targeted with the you save with advantage. Let's do it this way. When you are targeted with a counter spell, and that's so specific. Or an opportunity attack. If you are targeted if an opportunity attack is made against you, the attack roll is made with disadvantage. There you go. You can. No, let's just keep it simple. Suspend. If you could begin to cast this spell by putting it onto the stack, you may pay and exile it within this action. Doesn't use the stack. And at the beginning of your upkeep, so the card is suspended, remove a time counter from. No, we're gonna skip that. Vanishing. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this permanent has a timer counter on it, okay, we're gonna get rid of time stuff. Absorb. If a source would deal damage to this creature, prevent that much damage. Okay. Ooh, fun. Okay, let's do that. To fix it, let's go third. Let's make it second. It's not that powerful. I think it's only timer. Okay, absorb. When you take damage, you can take a reaction to expend any number. You can expend hit point dice up to your proficiency bonus. Add, roll the dice. Roll the dice and add the numbers rolled, reducing the amount of damage you take by the total. Roll the dice, reducing the amount of damage you take by the total number rolled. There. That's good language. Aura swap is rather meta. We're going to skip it. Delve. For each generic mana and the spell's cost, you may exile. No. Fortify. That's artifact stuff. Frenzy. Whenever this creature doesn't attack, isn't blocked, you gain +N against attack. We have Frenzied Attack, which is a power. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action, which can be used to generate temporary mana. In addition, you gain advantage on all attack rolls. So if I have Frenzied Attack active on a Paladin, for instance, I would get 3. This clicks in at level 13 for a Paladin. I get my 2 attacks normally. I now have 3 attacks. A Fighter 20 would have 5 attacks instead of 4. And each one of those attacks, as part of the attack action, can be sacrificed to generate mana. So it's a mana generator on top of the cost. So it's actually worth it. For 4 mana sustained, you can generate, if you wanted to, 1 mana for free every round by sacrificing the extra attack that you got. In addition, you gain advantage on all attack rolls. So yeah, let's just steal that. I mean, it ain't broke. Let's just use it. Let's call it Frenzy. So, Frenzy. Fourth tier, of course. Yeah, okay, what you gain 1 additional, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action, which, and we're going to skip the mana language here. Moreover, no, let's just leave it like that. Frenzy. There you go. You get an extra attack, period. Just add it on. That's fucking amazing. That's like 3rd edition samurai level good. Gravestorm. When you cast this spell, copy it for each permanent. No, that's deck meta. Poisonous. We already have the poison condition. But we can use it anyway. Poisonous. Your unarmed strikes can deal poison damage. There you go. Transfigure. Sacrifice permanent, never mind. Champion. That's a subclass, so we'll probably skip this. Yep. Changeling. So obviously is every creature type. Ooh, interesting. That's kind of like Nistola's Magic Aura. That's super meta. I don't hate it. Okay, sure. Oh yeah, let's do it. Okay, just for the lulz. I doubt we'll keep it, but I'm going to add it just for the memes right now. So, Changeling, first tier. When you finish a short or long rest, you can choose what creature type you are. For determining if spell or other effects can target you. So like if I would normally be, because there's so many creatures that are fey and like elemental and blah blah blah. So if I wanted to, normally my dwarf would be humanoid and I could be hit by hold person, but I could choose for myself to instead be a construct. And now hold person doesn't matter. But if I get hit by shatter, it'll deal extra damage to me, for instance. I like that. Evoke. You may cast this card by paying, it's evoke cost instead, never mind. Hideaway. We're gonna skip that. That's meta deck. Ooh, Prowl. You may pay cost rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Don't damage this way. Boy, that's a lot of words. I can see why they didn't survive for long. That's clumsy as hell. Okay. I mean, we can keep it simple. Prowl. Ooh, fun. Yeah, let's do this. Prowl. Here. You have expertise in the stealth and survival skills, and you roll these, and you roll ability checks using these skills with advantage. Not bad. Reinforce. Discard a card, gain a bonus. No. Conspire. I think we already have Conspire, don't we? Apparently not. What does Conspire do? As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures. Do we already have that? No, I feel like this already exists. I'm probably thinking of Convoke. There it is. Is Convoke a MTG card keyword. There you go. All right, so convoke. That is, in fact, a keyword. And that feels second tier to me. It's basically like circle magic. Yeah. Very neat. I mean, you have to be using circle magic, but still, it's a good boost to circle magic. Persist. Huh. Oh, that's fun. It's a little clunky mechanically, but we're just throwing down ideas. It doesn't mean we necessarily have to use it. It's just we're just throwing ideas out there. So persist. Ooh, yeah, this has got fun. Persist, third level, third tier. When you end concentration, is concentration capitalized? Looks like it. Yeah, concentration. Of course it is. Of course it's capitalized. When you lose concentration on a spell, you can expend 1 mana to extend the duration until the beginning of your next turn. You can do so for as long as until the end of your next turn. You can do so repeatedly, expending 1 mana each turn that you do so, while a spell persists. This way, you can't cast another spell that requires concentration. There we go. That makes it binary. Am I going to pay the cost to keep it going next round, or am I not? It's a low mana cost, and it restricts your concentration, so you can keep the spell going even though you failed it. I love that. Wither. Counter, forget it. Retrace, you may cast this card from your graveyard, forget it. Sacrifice creatures to get a bonus, never mind. Attacks alone, the creature gets a +1/+1 bonus until end of turn. That's very meta. That assumes that there's multiple targets that you know that are attacking a creature, so no. Unearth. No. Cascade. I think Cascade's in here already. Nope, okay. Well, this is where it would go if we do. When you cast this spell, exile... No, that's mana. That's card management. Skip it. Annihilator. Sacrifices... That awesome card. Love Annihilator. Doesn't work in D&D. Level up. Meta term. Doesn't matter. Rebound. If this spell was cast from your hand instead of putting it in the graveyard, as it resolves, exile it, and at the beginning of your next step, you may cast this spell. No. Because in D&D, you can cast the same spell over and over again. That doesn't really matter. Infect. Reduces, gives it counters until it dies. Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until. Okay, Battle Cry I feel like might be in here already. Nope. Okay. Battle Cry. That's a second tier feature, I'm sure. Battle Cry. 2 words? Thank you. Second tier. As part of an attack, when you make a melee weapon attack against a creature. No, when you make a melee weapon attack during your turn, you can grant advantage to let's word it differently. When you make a melee attack during your turn, once per turn, once during your turn, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, all creatures can each creature that makes the first attack, each creature makes against that same target rolls with advantage. Once during your turn, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, the first attack each creature makes against that same target before the beginning of your next turn rolls with advantage. There you go. It becomes a creature. Nope. Miracle Undying has its permanent is put in the graveyard from the battlefield. It has no +1 counters. Return it, and it has a +1 counter. Okay, Undying. That's easy enough. This is verified. It's not here already for some stupid reason. It shouldn't be. Nope. Cool. Undying. U. There. First tier. You make death saving throws with advantage. There you go. Easy enough, right? Miracle. That's a cleric ability. You skip it. Soul Bond. When this creature enters, if you put if you control both this creature and another creature and both are unpaired, you may pair them. Nope. Let's skip that. It's too meta. Overload. I feel like Overload is already in the red stack. Let's go verify. Yeah, there it is. Third tier. White magic, huh? Weird. Okay. Nope, we'll go back down here. Overload. M-N-O-O. Here we go. highest third tier. So if a spell or effect expends mana and targets one creature, you can double the cost to target an additional creature. This additional cost can exceed your maximum mana limit. And that's our timer. So let's finish this page. If we're done with this page, then we're just going to end for the day. That's the end of the page. So we're going to end for the day. So we are now through the stack of mana abilities. We're on keywords. We are now on page 171. We made good progress today, guys. So when we come back, we should come back. We'll probably be back on Thursday to do this. If not, Saturday for sure. We'll go through page 171 to 193. We just went through 27 pages, and we only have 22 pages left. This has been a 2-hour stream. So we got through 60 pages per hour, basically one page per minute. That's not bad. Not bad at all, really. So if everything goes well, we will finish this stack on Thursday, and if not, certainly on Saturday. Once we're finished with these keywords, we're going to let them basically, we're going to put them in a proofing box and let them kind of rise like bread for a little while. We're going to let them cool down and just let them percolate a little bit. I'll come back and I'll look at this occasionally, maybe poke at it a little bit here and there, but we're just going to let it sit for a while. The next project that we're going to be working on stream here is we're going to be designing magic items using martial powers. So I want to have about I want to have a few pages worth of magic items in the martial powers book that we're publishing, and I don't have enough magic items, so I need more magic items. So we're going to use our magic item crafting mechanics, and we're going to build out a whole bunch of power gear and translate some existing magic items into power gear, like Vicious Weapon, Flame Blade, Frostbrand, stuff like that. We're going to convert that stuff into the martial powers power gear mechanics, and we're going to build out a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to build multiple pages of that. That's what we'll be doing. We'll probably start doing that on Saturday. We are currently building the martial powers book. We're doing artwork for it right now, and I'm still doing layouts and additional stuff in the back end of it. I think we'll be able to finish the text and layouts faster than we're going to produce the artwork. If you have tagged in the past 3 sessions, we're still working on the background environment for the cover art. We'll probably be working on that cover art probably until the end of August. If I'm lucky, we'll finish it earlier, but I'm anticipating we'll start in on interior artwork in September. By then, we should have the first chapter, character classes and all subclasses converted into the mana system for martial powers. We already have the entire martial powers chapter finished. That's like spells, but it's powers instead. And by the time we get done with September, we should have those magic items built out. So we'll have the first chapter, second chapter, third chapter. The last 2 chapters we will continue to work on from there, which will be the color mana paradigm for alignment and backgrounds using color magic, Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros. And the 5th chapter is DM Toolbox, how DMs can use and manipulate power in a campaign. And then final chapter will be sample characters. We'll be using the martial power system to build out different characters of different levels from different classes and subclass combinations. So we got a lot of stuff to do. I'm anticipating having the actual like the full written mechanics of the book completed, like all laid out and stuff like that. I'm expecting that to be done probably in November, and we'll probably be doing artwork for this book. I'm going to guess into April next year, so possibly May. If I would like to have this book done, if not sooner, by May. I usually have a pretty big release. I like to have big releases in May if I can. If I can finish this book, if I can finish Martial Powers faster, I will. Once we get the layouts done and we're done with the back end, like the off-screen stuff with that book, we will start building subclasses. We'll probably in September or so, we'll start doing our streams here of building and arting subclass of 1 pages from this list, using both martial powers and the core and the color mana spellcasting mechanics. That stuff will all be published on my Patreon. Until martial powers is published, we'll just be building subclasses and posting them on my Patreon for members only to play with and play test. Once we have martial powers published, we'll actually start publishing the subclass options from Patreon. So I'm hoping it's going to be in March, if not sooner. But we'll be building these things out, and people that are members of my Discord, of my Patreon, it's only $1 to join my Patreon. You'll get access to all the stuff that we're going to be doing there, and I'm expecting that stuff to begin, like I said, probably in September. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and cut stream for now. We'll be back on Thursday night, probably Thursday night, to finish this. And tomorrow morning, we're going to be back on, continuing to work on the artwork for the Martial Powers book cover that will be published on DMsGuild. And we'll be spending months talking about Martial Powers as we're illustrating. There's going to be close to one illustration per page. It's going to be a doozy. So we're going to have a lot of time spent working on different abilities. So, hey, thanks a lot to everybody that's showing up on the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, bell icon. Join my Patreon if you're interested in this stuff down below. It's $1 a month to participate and support. Otherwise, check out my books down below. They all have free previews. They're chock full of my art and ideas. Buy something if you want to support me. And be welcome to reach out to me on Discord. I'll see you guys later.